Hello everyone, I am Idona Jean Baptiste. Welcome to the Channel 5 News. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Do you need more cash for that home improvement? Then come to Fast Cash, where we give you more. At Fast Cash, our customers get more funds and more time to repay. But wait, can't come to us? We'll come to you, and our mobile officer will get you on your way. Small businesses, consumers, and taxi owners. Fast Cash has more for everyone. Simply call or visit any of our locations for more. Smarter, faster, better. Fast Cash. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. While tourism stakeholders have been asked to prepare for a January 2018 start date to welcome cruise visitors, one group is hoping good luck will favor them later this month. Andrea Louis explains.
Combined Taxi Incorporated is among the stakeholders anticipating the return of the tourist dollar to the island sooner rather than later. The Ministry of Tourism announced that it was preparing to receive cruise ships next month, and Combined Taxi Inc. believes visitors can already be welcomed back to Dominica. President of Combined Taxi Inc., Philip Geist, says the taxi drivers are keeping their fingers crossed for something to work out in the north of the island later this month.
To my understanding, there will be, Thompson made a request to dock in Portsmouth sometime on the 15th of December. I'm not too sure if the request was granted by the port, but they were willing to tender their visitors onto the Pace jetty. So that would have been good news for us if that ship docks in Portsmouth. It means it will tell the rest of the vessels, yes, we are ready for business. I'm fortunate to sit on a task force representing taxi drivers, and major sites are ready for business. Some of the road network onto the Trafalgar Falls, that area needs to be looked at. On the Midland Falls and on the Tito Gorge area, some of the road area needs to be looked at too. And of course the Antrim Road, which leads to the major site, the Emerald Pool. We hope some work can be done there to make that site accessible and the road more user-friendly. We are looking at hoping that the authorities will maybe do some work on the Warner Road, which would access the Emerald Pool via the Ponkasi-Warner area. That area is safer for persons to use 16-seaters. It's very frightening when you use the big buses.
And based on what you've seen so far, you believe Dominica is ready to welcome cruise ship visitors in January?
We are ready to receive cruise ship passengers from yesterday. The island, to me, the forest have kicked up even faster than the human beings on island. I mean, it's amazing when you drive around the island to see how fast the forests have sprung out and are moving. I mean, I have been to the Emerald Pool. The Emerald Pool is much nicer after Maria than before Maria. It's deeper because you realize some of the debris kept on the side, and so the pool is wider. So a lot of the tourist sites are ready. The north, when you speak to the guys in the north, they're ready. Looking forward to yachting month in February of next year. I mean, the excitement and the positiveness that lies before us is greater than whatever lied before us before Maria.
Geist explains that there was damage to Combined Taxi's fleet of over 300 vehicles. However, the taxi operators are ready to get back on the job as soon as possible.
We lost every computer at the office because the roof of the office went, and water entered the office and damaged our equipment, our stationaries and what have you. So Combine partially is on a go slow now. It's partially closed the office. On the vehicle side of things, I think 35% of our vehicle fleet got damaged. When I speak to drivers on a one-on-one, they are recovering slowly and looking forward to January 1st. Hopefully when the first cruise ship will dock on island.
You mentioned 35% of the fleet was impacted. How much is that in terms of vehicles impacted?
We had approximately, Combine had about 300 and something vehicles. So a large percentage of them, number of them.
So that means a large number, they cannot be used anymore?
Some of them cannot be used again, some of them can be used. We have a lot of glass damage and a lot of electrical damage. water entered the vehicle and slashed the computers and the alternators, a lot of those and glass damage. So some vehicles received minor damage, while some of them received major damage. Some of them will not be able to be used again. Some of them would have to be replaced. We hope that we can get some concessions like the farmer gets, so we can replace those vehicles, even not for this cruise ship season, but for the 2018-2019 cruise ship season. But we are looking forward to the cruise ship season opening with great anticipation.
All right, so has insurance been able to help in any regard?
Well, propose the driver has insurance for that purpose, because insurance is very ticklish when drivers don't understand. You have comprehensive, you have full comprehensive, then you have act of God. If you do not have the coverage for act of God, then it means you would have been shot in your own feet. So therefore, the challenge would have, like for me, I do not have the act of God, but fortunately, nothing happened to my vehicle. So we hope that maybe we can learn from that and then put on the act of God. But though the bus's insurance from January of this year went up due to the accidents we have having lately. So the taxi business is coming very challenging. We have to look for new ways to survive and look new ways to do things differently, because the cost is mounting up daily or yearly on the taxi driver.
The Combined Taxi Inc. president says these past few months have been trying for the taxi drivers, as they have been without employment for over 7 months.
But all told, we have felt the blunt of Maria, I think, taxi drivers. To be without employment from April of this year into now, it's a big challenge, and I hope that taxi drivers are coping and keeping quiet and just being able to deal with the situation that we face post-Maria.
Any message you want to leave before viewing public?
Well, be sympathetic to the taxi driver, because the taxi driver is maybe going through emotions more than the ordinary individual. I mean, to be without employment from earlier April of this year and has his bills and have her bills, it can be very challenging. So I would ask that you be a little more patient with the taxi driver at home and on the street, because emotions can sometimes take hold of you, like sometimes it takes hold of me, but I try my best to control it and look forward to the next day.
Reporting for Channel 5 News, I am Andrea Louis.
Over 800 displaced people at hurricane shelters have been assessed with a view to getting aid from the state. The country's housing stock has experienced 90% damage, which translates to an estimated $1 billion. Coordinator of hurricane shelters, John Fontaine, told Channel 5 News the Ministry of Social Services is conducting a damage and needs analysis of the situation.
Currently, we have 823 persons in shelters. In some cases, tarpaulins were given, in some cases small tents. However, there seem to be a number of experiences that has been recorded with the tents and tarpaulins, and so persons are looking for more stable type of housing accommodation. Within the rural areas, and that is in some cases or most cases, a number of persons have been going back to their areas that they call home, whether it's just a porch remaining and they make do. There are a number of makeshift housing that when you go across the island that you see, including, I understood, I have not seen it, but some persons mentioned there are persons living in their buses, in cars, or at least they sleep there, because not everybody feel comfortable in the shelter, so they'll do anything to stay away from the shelter.
On the issue of the 11 schools still serving as shelters, Fontaine says in some cases, many people have nowhere else to go.
And as we speak, there's a team out there of technical persons from the Housing Division, Ministry of Education, and local government department, in terms of going to the shelters, the schools that are used as shelters, to quantify materials needed to facilitate that transition that we speak about. In some cases, is very difficult. In some cases, there are persons needing a few galvanized sheeting and lumber, maybe to go back to the area. Some cases, people can't go back to the area because there's nothing to go back to. And that includes people who are living along the coast or along the riverbed, alongside the river. From our end, from the Ministry of Social Services, and we are working with the persons at shelters, and the Ministry of Education, they are the ones spearheading the thrust for reopening of schools. And in those schools, there are 152 persons. There's major effort on the way to ensure that the persons who are in schools are given priority in terms of alternate housing accommodation so that schools can reopen. In certain publics, the way people talk about getting people out of shelters, I mean, we do not want to be promoting that. It's just that government has this national thrust to ensure that our young minds can be engaged in positive things. So the many children that are, so that they can get engaged in their schoolwork and get ready for their exams. But it's not anything about getting people out of shelter like at any cost. That's not what is meant to be, and that's what ought not to disseminate. It's just that it's a national thrust to get children back at school, and we all understand why.
Fontaine recognized that there is a burden on the state to provide assistance for those solely relying on that favor.
The burden is there, and even persons who did not lose everything, there seems to be a perception. There seems to be a perception out there that the state will provide everything. And the state cannot provide everything, and we all know that. But I think the state will do everything in its powers to ensure that the people who have nowhere to go back to will get assistance. There are a number of partners that are working with the Ministry of Social Services to facilitate, and to make people a little comfortable. The focus has been on persons who are at the schools. If you look at the non-schools, there are 42 of them, and in the non-schools there are a total of 671 persons. Generators have been given by various our international partners to these shelters, like we say, to make life as comfortable as possible.
25,000 Dominicans most affected by Hurricane Maria to receive financial assistance under an emergency cash transfer program. Julian Morris reports.
The World Food Programme and UNICEF are partnering to support the government of Dominica in that venture, which begins this month. The program will build on government's public assistance program under the Ministry of Social Services. The funds will be made available once a month for the next 3 months to 8,300 families who qualify. They will receive between $240 and $645 EC dollars, depending on the number of children in the household. Recipients of government's public assistance program already qualify. Main breadwinners who have lost their job due to Hurricane Maria, as well as the elderly, pregnant lactating women, and the children also qualify. The cash transfer is meant to be used for meeting basic needs, including food, clothes, hygiene items, and school supplies.
We're very pleased to work with the Ministry of Social Services. In a way, it's an innovative way to intervene. We call it a shock responsive social protection, meaning that we are, let's say, utilizing and really expanding what is already existing on the ground, what is existing in a country, and the government of Dominica has already demonstrated the ability to manage a cash transfer in a very efficient way. So there was no point in having a separate system, and that's why we're very pleased to support the government directly, because you already demonstrated that you can really manage very well cash transfers.
This program, which we are launching here today, as has been explained before, will be a welcoming gesture for many people. What I would like to implore on these people, that they have been identified not to meet their wants, but that they meet their needs. And this money that they are going to receive, that they should use it wisely. It's not a lifetime assistance. You have to appreciate the period, and it's 3 months that we are going to, that this organization, these donor organizations, the UN, for the UN agencies, are going to help us. As was explained earlier, the process of obtaining, because we had the PAP program, which the Ministry of Social Services already had, but we had new vulnerabilities. And so we had to incorporate the help of different people to identify those who were vulnerable as a result of Maria. And so we had people like the village councils from my Ministry of Social Services, Family and Gender Affairs, which I have to say thank you for your efforts, the work that you have placed in helping us identify these people, these non-PAP people, and the village councils, the chairman, the clerks, and other community members who helped in that process. I want to say thank you very, very much. I also want to thank the staff of social services, because they've been there ensuring that we get this thing started. Because it was so time-bound, limited time to capture as many people as we wanted to.
Those who qualify for the fund should check with the Ministry of Social Services and the Village Council for dates and venues for collecting their money. Julian Morris reporting for Channel 5 News.
The Environmental Health Department identified no relief supplies to the Grotto home as one of several challenges facing the institution immediately after Hurricane Maria. But the Social Services Minister says they are being taken care of. Environmental health officers first inspected the conditions that the Grotto home's residents were living in on October 19, a month after Hurricane Maria. The homeless people were seeking shelter temporarily at the lodge building across the street from its current dilapidated site when EHD found that no relief was coming to the home. The finding of the inspection was addressed to the chairman of Grotto's board in a memo dated October 24. Paul Green shared the document with Channel 5 News last week, saying that the public should be made aware of the challenges facing Grotto's operations. The Grotto home has since moved back to its original location. Social Services Minister Catherine Daniel, in her response to a question on Monday about the issue, said the home for the homeless had gotten the state's attention since the storm.
I personally have visited the Grotto on numerous occasions since after Maria, and they have been receiving supplies. They receive supplies from government. They have agencies who go, and this is another vulnerable group, and the agencies go there and they get stuff for these people. So they've been cared for. They get a subvention from the government. So they're taken care of.
On the sports scene, regional and international cricketing organizations have pledged their support to Dominica in the post-Hurricane Maria recovery effort. Kenny Williams explains.
Head of Dominica Cricket Association and the Vice President for West Indies Cricket Board, Emmanuel Nanton, says WICB has been in discussion with International Cricket Council and England and Wales Cricket Board to hold relief matches for Dominica. Caribbean Premier League officials have also expressed interest in hosting similar matches in Dominica.
At the West Indies level, I know the board has been very instrumental in trying to raise funds for Dominica and other countries that got affected from the hurricanes that affected the region. So there was a fundraising match in Trinidad that I understood went very well. It was assisted mainly by the TTCB. I would also say that the West Indies board was able to negotiate with the ICC and the England board a fundraising game for the Caribbean, most of which will be coming to Dominica, and that game will take place in England sometime early next year. I think it's about the 31st of May thereabout. So most of the funds will be coming in to assist cricket in the Caribbean, but Dominica particularly because we're affected more than the other islands. So we're looking forward to doing a number of things. We're looking forward to good things and see how we can rebuild stronger, better, and more resilient from here. the CPL contacted us as well and said that they too want to see what they can do, and they're looking very much at doing something in Dominica during the course of next year. So the CPL has also expressed an interest in assisting us here in Dominica, and they're putting plans in place to assist us during the course of next year with an event in Dominica that, as soon as it's finalized, will be brought to the public.
Meantime, Nanton says cricketing in Dominica was not spared from the September 18 hurricane, with damage sustained to infrastructure and impacted cricket programs as a result.
Cricket, like everything else, been part of Dominica, got severely affected. If you look at the stadium and the damage that was done there, we had quite a few $1 million worth of damage at the stadium. We lost the lights and the poles, the field got flooded, we lost the roof, we lost the new scoreboard that was cost $1.5 million. So we have had quite a bit of damage and cost there. But even the Botanic Gardens, we lost the pavilion at the gardens, and some of the outfield has been damaged and affected as well. In Portsmouth, at the academy, there's quite a few windows, and the building there was damaged. The nets was severely damaged. The pavilion there in terms of what was damaged as well. And basically all around Dominica, we had lots of facilities that we normally use for cricket. Outside of that, we were unable to host, which we were planning on doing, for the first time, Parish T20 League. That was supposed to have been rolled out in November. We had to hold back on that, so that got severely affected as well. We had our national under-15 team that was in training. They came back on training, but albeit late. But thank you to the coaches and manager Kevin James and the sports division for their efforts in assisting us in letting the team continue to do training with good support from the association and the executive. Our academy was impacted because normally we would have done our under-19 league towards the end of September going into October and then start off the academy. That had to be placed on hold. So right now the academy is on hold. So basically we have had tremendous impact. We have been impacted severely by Hurricane Maria, both in terms of infrastructure and in terms of program that we're doing. We're still planning a few programs, so we have some kids cricket activity that will be rolling out soon. Our under-15 team will be traveling soon for Windward Islands. Windward Islands on the 15th tournament. That's taking place shortly. Our team will be traveling, I think, on the 10th of December, thereabout. So we are trying to bounce back, but we got severely affected. The volcanoes that was in training here in Dominica during the storm had to leave after the storm because of all the damage we had, and they had to reassemble, and we focused out in Grenada. So basically we got affected severely, but having said that, we have to now refocus and see how we go forward. When the 15th team is back in training, the Volcanoes office that was affected and they were out of office for about 2 months just moved back and reopened this week. The DC office reopened a few weeks ago. I think by the end of the first quarter of 2018, we will see cricket being normal again. In fact, if we had more first-class games, we would have actually come back with a first-class game in the first quarter of next year. But these fixtures as they are, ends pretty early next year, and therefore we will not have a first-class game next year, and at least in the first quarter. But we will have good cricket in Dominica, including cricket that the fans will be very pleased with.
Nanton expects local cricket to bounce back in the shortest possible time. He suggests the sport should return to normal by the end of March 2018. I am Kenny Williams reporting for Channel 5 News.
King Garments on 28 Stibber Street in Pottersville offer a variety of services to you, the general public. We produce independent and local clothing at our Pottersville store. We offer top security services to our many clients and business houses. Also, just arrive at our new PowerMate 6,000 kilowatt generator to power your homes after Hurricane Maria. So come into 28 Stibber Street in Pottersville or call King's Garments at 440-6181, 277-7178 or 317-4441. King's Garments, we are here to serve you.
You're watching Channel 5 News. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Idona John Baptist. Thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow.